Now, Vice President Dr. Mahmood Bawumia has arrived in Kumasi to observe the final funeral rites of late Police Lance Corporal Mohammed Awal, who was killed in Buduburam with a colleague Wednesday afternoon. My colleague Ohiming Teria has been engaged in some family members of today's event and the life of the late police officer. We'll bring you that shortly, but first let's tell you about the resolve of the Ghana Police Service to clamp down on criminals and their activities across the country following the latest shooting of two of their men. According to personnel of the service, they are unfazed by the killing of 5 of their colleagues in the last month, and they are assuring they'll continue to work to reduce crime. They've also welcomed government directive to arm all traffic officers on duty across the country. Now, the directive was issued by the Interior Minister following the killing of the officers. Evans Mensah has more.
The scene at the police headquarters last night. Many well-armed police officers with support from the military prepared to deploy across the capital, not deterred by the killing of 5 of their colleagues in the last 1 month alone.
We are strong, we are not weak. We are prepared to combat crime. And as they have begun, they should wait for the consequences. Because as we are going out there, we are much prepared. We have all the logistics to fight crime, to bring crime to square zero.
Though there are a lot of incidents that are taking place, people are attacking police, but yet we are well trained. And we are well trained, our perceptions, our everything, we are highly on top. And we make sure we achieve our goals. We are highly trained for fighting against armed robbers, langers, and other forms of crime.
Our morale is very high, and also we are on top of issues. What I'm trying to mean is that what has happened yesterday is not something that can demoralize us one way or the other.
These men are ready to lay down their lives for you, and they are now getting some well-deserved protection. Ambrose Derry is Interior Minister.
The police in Ghana, not to arm them because of their role, but I have directed the acting IGP to immediately arm all police on traffic and to provide them with bulletproof equipment, the vest and the helmets which they have received to enable the police exercise their right of self-defense effectively when they meet such callous and barbaric persons.
The latest killing of 2 officers in Buduburam on Wednesday was the last straw. This eyewitness gave Joy News this exclusive account of what happened.
Police can private car be police no bisa papa ni.
Well, she says a police vehicle and then a saloon car actually pulled up here in front of their shop. And a DNC here. Cars number parking one DNC here.
No police nini bo papa nasu.
She says the policeman stepped out of the car and then slapped one of the occupants of the vehicle. One and obo nasu.
Obo driver nasu.
And a DNC here.
No papa ni kaso ojini sika waka nimno. Police
the driver who we are told was slapped by the police officer told the police officer that he wants to take money from his car, but he did not pull out money. He actually went in there and pulled a gun and then subsequently shot the police officer in the head.
With every police officer now about to be armed and protected with bulletproof vests and helmets, this heartbreaking incident may well be minimized, if not prevented completely. The officers are excited about the new directive.
We want to thank the IG and the Interior Minister for that. And then the police service, when you touch one person, you have touched all of us. And as this incident is being reported, they have touched the whole Ghana Police Service.
The IGP says these are desperate times and will be met with desperate measures.
Desperate situations call for desperate measures. And therefore, we've had a rethink of our strategies. And I'm not saying that we're going to kill innocent citizens, but this killing of innocent police officers must stop. And we will do everything to ensure that this is stopped. Within the legal framework of the laws of Ghana, I will not see that policemen suffer the casualties that we are suffering. No. I will do everything, my administration will do everything, the police administration will do everything in our power to ensure that our men are safe and that we play the role that has been assigned to us by law and by our constitution. We will defend the people of Ghana. If it means taking our lives, fine. But we will ensure that all the criminals who do that, we will deal with them effectively.
3 people have so far been arrested by the police in connection with the Bujumbura killing, with 1 on the run. The police have placed a 10,000 cedi bounty on his head. His name is Eric Kojobedu. The police deserve our support. Hashtag I stand with GH Police.
Now, following the directive by the Interior Minister, Journeys has been checking some intersections in the capital where traffic duty officers are often deployed. My colleague PSC Nanaya Safo, who was on that beat, reported that some of them seen this morning around the Tesano enclave were not in protective gears and were not seen with visible arms. Speaking to me earlier on this, commander of the Tesano Police Division, ACP Odro Amini, said his personnel will be equipped very soon, explaining that the directive from the Interior Minister will have to go through the IGP before trickling down to the various units.
This was a discussion and it just came on air yesterday. Now that the directives have come out from the Minister of Interior, I think it will be communicated to the Inspector General of Police and then they will take it up from there.
How are your men faring after the incident at Bujumbura?
We have taken it in good faith, and then the men are also working as they were working previously. So there is no cause for alarm at all. We are not perturbed. As much as our brothers have lost their life, yes, life must continue. So wise, we've been talking to them, like my division. I called them for a meeting. That was yesterday, 3 days today, yes, when the incident happened. So I think we've been talking to them, encouraging them, giving them pep talk, briefing and all other things for them to be on their feet. They shouldn't be perturbed at all because our boss is solidly behind us. So we are on the way.
Well, the police has promised to crack down on crime in the country, starting from the Kaswa Bujumbura enclave, where that incident occurred on Wednesday. Maxwell Agbagba has a wrap.
Blaring sirens as scores of people gather on the sides of the road leading to Kaswa as the top brass of the Ghana Police Service moved to the crime scene where 2 policemen were killed. Residents say they are terrified by criminal activities in their community.
Very sad and scared because when we had the issue, we thought it wasn't true, but later on we found out that it was true, and we are very sad over here. So we are hoping that maybe things will get better, that they will catch those culprits so that they might be dealt with. So that's what we are expecting from the police service.
Acting Inspector General of Police James Opombuenu says now is the time to ruthlessly clamp down on the activities of land guards and other criminals who have been terrorizing residents of Kaswa.
I know that Kaswa has a lot of security challenges. I can assure the people of Kaswa that we are going to deal with that challenge and we'll deal with it effectively. All the land guards here, I'm sounding a note of warning to them. We are going to deal with them. They better find something better to do. Otherwise, they will not find favor in our eyes. So what I've said here is that what has happened will not deter us from doing or performing our normal duties.
will continue to protect the people of Ghana as required of us.
Interior Minister Ambrose Derry says more resources will be given to the Kaswa Divisional Police Command to enable them effectively fight crime.
Yes, Kaswa has been a place that has put some challenges, and the Police Council has directed that the status of the police structure in Kaswa be enhanced so that you get increased resources to be able to keep the place peaceful. But all that depends on your cooperation. Security is a collective responsibility. Give the information and give it on time.
You also talked about the security situation here in Kaswa, and you're saying that your outfit, you're going to do more to augment the security men here because you think Kaswa has a peculiar problem.
The decision has already been taken by the Police Council, and the status of the station has been enhanced, and so with the allocation of resources. And so all I'm doing is reiterating that we want the police to be up and doing, and I've got the assurance, so we're going to ensure they do it.
Municipal Chief Executive of Wutu Senya East, Michael Yao Isuman Menson, says the population of Kaswa has outgrown the number of policemen. He disagrees with residents that the alarming crime rates is as a result of the influx of foreigners.
When we inherited this particular seat as MC, you would recall that the situation in Kaswa was so volatile. I mean, you realize that on a daily basis we are having issues. And it is not because of foreigners alone, but because it's a cosmopolitan kind of municipality where you have not less than 240 people moving into to settle in Kaswa on a weekly basis. And so with that kind of, mosaic background of cultural differences, societal differences, upbringing, educational backgrounds, you'd expect that would encounter some of these things. And then we'll be working with the IGP, both the one who just went on retirement and then this current one. We've met him. In fact, we've met the Vice President, myself.
We'll take you back to the story. My colleague Ohimingtea is at the funeral of one of the officers who was shot and killed, Lance Corporal Awal Mohammed. We'll bring in you details from there and hear from his father as well. But before that, the Gender Ministry has promised to fast-track processes to ensure that the Affirmative Action Bill is laid in Parliament before the end of the year. This comes after CSO's cluster on decentralization and citizen participation marched through the principal streets of Accra demanding the bill be laid and passed by the end of the year. The bill, which has suffered a number of setbacks for 10 years, is to ensure that women get 40% participation in governance, public positions of power and decision making. Well, Cynthia Morrison, Gender Minister, spoke with my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, on Thursday.
I see. And finally, what Ghanaians want to know is whether or not this parliament, when they resume, they will pass it. That's the information.
We have to debate it. You know, Parliament.
Of course, I know you have to debate it.
Yes, so it's going to come.
But is there assurance there will be a passage before the Nana Addo Dankwa administration?
Before the Nana Addo Dankwa, it will be passed.
It will be passed.
It will be passed.
Right, now let's move away from that. Right.
We are not moving and we've ended. Thank you.
So the group marched to Parliament and also to the Gender Ministry today to press home their demand. My colleague Nancy Emefadrodosi has been following them and she joins us with more. Hello, Nancy. We seem to be having trouble on that line. We'll reach Nancy shortly and bring you details of what has happened with that march. You're watching Joy News today with me, Benis Abubedu. So please don't go away. When we come back, I'll be taking you to the Ashanti region capital, Kumasi, Ebuakwa to be precise, where Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has joined the family of the late Lance Corporal Awal Mohammed, who was shot in Buduburam by some men. And we'll bring you that shortly. Please don't go away. Thank you so much for staying here on Joy News today. Let's take you to the Ashanti region now. My colleague Ohiming Teria, a member of our security desk, has been following up on the funeral of the late Lance Corporal Awal Mohammed. He joins us with details. Hello, Ohiming. What can you report?
Thank you, Bernice. Earlier, I have been speaking to the father of the late Awal Mohammed, Osman Mohammed, who tells me Awal is only the male son that he has on this earth. He has 8 children, and he's the 7th born of a family of 10 here at Buakwa Zongo. He tells me Awal is very disciplined and very respectful, and as a father, anytime he wants to speak to the son, he accords him with a lot of respect, because Awal will accord everyone, irrespective of your age.
All right, Ohiming. Let's listen to the father now. I'll come and find out from you if the vice president has been saying anything. But let's hear the father of the late Lance Corporal Awal Mohammed.
Ama Awal me kura no a me wo no no na se mo ya mo nwanwa wa ya kwala bi a wo sori ya wupu atiye ni niye me kura me wo Awal me fere Awal.
Awal is my son, and I brought him up in the ways of the Lord. He's a respectful child, always there for the family. He was loved by all. God knows best. May he keep his soul. When I heard the news about my son being shot, I was devastated, and so was the family. He's the 7th of 8 children. I've indeed lost a son. God knows best.
Very emotional father there. Ohiming, so tell us if the vice president has been speaking and what he's been saying, if he has.
Yes, the vice president, in what appears to be an emotional statement, described the killing of police officers in recent times as coward act. He says that for the past 30 days, Ghana has lost 5 unarmed police officers.
Yes, Ohiming, please proceed.
Yes, he says Ghana has lost 5 gallant police officers who are unarmed and performing their lawful duties. And he has been making emphatic statement that this should be an end to the era where police officers who go out station duties unarmed. He says government has acquired ammunition and also bullet-proof vests that will be distributed to police officers to protect the lives and property, especially with regards to the life of police officers who Ghana expects so much from them. The government, vice president is unhappy that police officers who risk their life to protect their citizenry, instead of also protecting the officers in return, will turn around to also kill them. So he says that this should be an end to that era. And he announced that government, cannot sit down unconcerned for such acts to continue to be happening in Ghana. So he says that this should be an end to that practice where officers are attacked and they lose their lives in that regard. And he also announced the government has, given green light for recruitment of 4,000 more police officers to augment the existing police force that we have in Ghana.
Finally, Ohiming, has the late police officer been buried yet?
Not at all. Currently, we are at the family house at Buakwa Zongo, and from here we'll move to the RC Park in Buakwa for the burial and then the funeral service, Bernice.
Thank you very much. Ohiming Teria with Love FM and a member of our security desk, bringing us details of that funeral ongoing for the late Lance Corporal Awal Mohammed. Now, lawyer for embattled Chief Executive Officer of the Public Procurement Authority, who's now been suspended, says the documentary by Manasseh Ozuriawuni alleged conflict of interest against his client is much ado about nothing. Augustine Obuo said, like everyone, he fumed when he first watched the investigative piece. However, after conversations with Mr. Ejanim Boateng Eje, he came to the conclusion that calls for his client to be arrested are baseless. He spoke to Malik Abbas Dabu on Upfront Wednesday.
The highest contract DDL won was 1.9, and they have executed 5 did the interrogation last?
It was less than an hour. We were there in the queue. I said people would say that we were being heckled or something. It was less than an hour.
What explanation did he give to interrogators in respect of his co-shareholder giving contracts out and taking percentages back?
So that is not the question that you are asked the shareholder. He said, no, look at my age. Look at my age on the stage. There is this company. He has several companies that he does run, agrochemical and all that, as he's on his way out on retirement. These are the things he's going to do. He even has a pure water company, wife and husband. That is sachet water. This is normal with public servants.
Lawyer for the suspended PPA boss speaking to Malik Abbas Dabu on Upfront on Thursday. Meanwhile, the MD of Talent Discovery Limited is appearing before the Special Prosecutor. The documentary showed how TDL, incorporated in June 2017, was allegedly selling out government contracts it had been awarded, mostly through restrictive tendering. My colleague Joseph Akable was at the Special Prosecutor's office, and here's the interaction I had with him earlier on News Desk.
So I'm just standing some few meters away from the office of the Special Prosecutor here at Laboni. I can report that indeed I have spotted Thomas Amma, who is the General Manager for the Talent Discoveries Limited. When I got here, some few minutes after 9:30, the main gate to the office of the Special Prosecutor was actually open, and they were on the compound. The lawyer whose soundbite you played not too long ago, Augustine Obo, together with Mr. Jenim Boating, and also Francis Ahin, who is his brother-in-law, who we understand is also a shareholder of the company Talent Discovery Limited. Together with Thomas Amma, they were all on the compound of the office of the Special Prosecutor, engaged in a conversation. At about 10 a.m., Thomas Amma exited the office of the Special Prosecutor in a police car, a Camry, a police registration number GP, that left the premise of the office of the Special Prosecutor, but the others remain on the compound. The understanding or the information we are picking indicates that those are the investigators that left with Mr. Amwa. We understand that they will be seeking to identify his residence, after which they will bring him back before the interrogation starts. This is what we understand happened yesterday, because once they are done with the processes and they decide to grant him a self-recognizance bail, it will be important for the interrogating authorities to satisfy itself with the fact that they know where exactly he lives, for which reason they had to leave this particular place to go over to his residence, after which they will come back to the office of the Special Prosecutor to enable the interrogation itself to start.
So that was Joseph Akable earlier when he joined us on News Desk. Let's now go live to him, still at the Special Prosecutor's office. Joseph, what can you report now? What's the latest?
And so the latest we can report, Ben, is to the effect that Mr. ABAJ, together with his legal team and the other individuals who came, including Francis Ahin, and who is also a shareholder of the Talent Discovery Limited as well, together with lawyers, they left the office of the Special Prosecutor together with their police investigators. And we understand that the interrogation is yet to conclude because the investigators need to carry out some verifications, and these are verifications that they are required to visit various offices and various homes outside the residency office of the Special Prosecutor, for which reason they have to go together with the individuals who are currently suspect before them. And so they left here some few minutes ago. We tried to engage the lawyers, and those were the results that we sent that viewers could see Mr. BAJ exiting. The lawyers tell us that it has not concluded, and so they are going to those locations, after which they will come back to the office of the Special Prosecutor.
Earlier you told us that the MD of TDL had been, escorted with some police in a police vehicle. Has he returned?
So he returned sometime about 10:50 a.m. And when the second departure was taking place this time around, he again was passed together with the lawyers and the police investigators and Fransani and Mr. ABAJ. So the update is that after the general manager returned, the entire delegation that came in today once again left together with the police investigators. They left the premises of the office of the Special Prosecutor, and the indication we get is that there are various locations that they are visiting to carry out
There are various locations that they are visiting to carry out some verifications. The Special Prosecutor himself, we spotted him some few minutes ago exiting his office. We understand that he's paying a close attention to this particular process, even though it is being handled by the investigators, because as you recall, when the president wrote this particular letter to the office, he had indicated that they expedite the processes, and so this is a particular matter that he's paying close attention to ensure that his office wraps up its investigations quickly to determine whether there's a matter that must progress beyond this office where the probe is taking place to perhaps the judiciary now, or it's a matter that will be truncated here at the office of the Special Prosecutor.
Thank you very much, Joseph Akable, bringing us updates from the office of the Special Prosecutor at Laboni. Away from that, the Data Protection Commission is yet to commence investigations into the Auditor General's report that the Electoral Commission illegally sold voter data to Buy Systems Limited. This revelation comes 2 months after the release of the 2018 Auditor General's report. Executive Director of the Data Protection Commission, Patricia Idusai-Poku, explains the EC requested to meet with them after the 21 days deadline. The EC says this will enable them to furnish the Data Commission with relevant information to aid the investigation.
To the EC on behalf of the Ghanaian public to find out whether any action has been taken, because the EC proactively came out and told Ghanaian public about the challenges and issues that exist within the Electoral Commission. So we have written to the EC to now come and collaborate with the Commission and tell us exactly what action they are taking or what systems they have in place so that we can support them to correct it if necessary or to advise them to create more preventative measures in there. They are working on the request that we sent to them. We are waiting for some responses from them in order to decide how to address the issues and align it with their requirements and that law. We haven't ignored the request. We've written to them officially. We are giving the EC time to respond to each. It was a whole list of questions we sent to the EC. The EC has begun addressing some of these questions. We need to now find time to sit with the EC and align their answers against their obligations.
What are the timelines?
The original timeline was 21 days for them to come back to us. The 21 days expired, and now they are requesting to sit down and discuss with the EC, and we are working on that.
Let's go back to our earlier story on the affirmative action demonstration. My colleague Nancy Emefa is with the demonstrators who went to Parliament. Hello, Emefa, what can you report? What was the response from Parliament?
So, Dennis, the group was supposed to march to the Flagstaff House, the presidency, but the security agency stopped them from going because of some security reasons. And so they ended their walk at Parliament. But unfortunately for them again, when they got to Parliament, the Speaker of the House, Reverend Michael Kwe, was not around. And so it was the acting director for the public affairs, Madam Gloria Sako, who received the petition. But she was unable to give any assurances because she said she was not in a position to do so. And so all they had today was the assurance from the Gender Ministry, that is Reverend Comfort Asare, who is the director for the Department of Gender at the ministry. Now, at the end, I said to them, and they were disappointed that the Gender Minister, Madam Cynthia Morrison, was not around because they say that she assured them, in fact, she threw their weight, her weight behind them, and unfortunately, she failed them. And so they left with some disappointment faces.
Thank you very much. Nancy Emefa bringing us updates on that demonstration for affirmative action. You're watching Joy News today with me, Benis Abubedi Lancer. In business news shortly, co-founder of defunct UT Bank is asking the Bank of Ghana to be fair in its dealings with industry players. We've got details shortly. Please stay.